Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So it's very interesting to see all of the protests across the country. I just wanted to see how far this would go. So far, no violence. It's moving into the night. It's usually back when we had the George Floyd riots. It would start during the nighttime. So we remains to be seen what happens tonight. Uh, it's already, I think, probably, well, it's nighttime. It's almost 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 5:55 where I'm at right now on the West Coast. So when I say moronic Americans by the millions protest across multiple U.S. cities, will these cities see violence? Because we've talked about how American cities will, the Democrats basically will withdraw from pretty much the rest of society and move into the big cities. Which cities remains to be seen, but perhaps today we got a little taste of which cities. All right. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, gosh, Americans really don't like President Trump on a massive level. But it is, I don't think it's so much that. I think it's just they're extremely stupid or lacking in good judgment, and that's what a moron is. So I know some people will find offense with that, and it doesn't mean that everything in their lives are moronic or they're moronic about everything. It means they're moronic about this subject, right? They haven't done critical thinking. Maybe they're with groups that are just so anti-Trump, so Trump derangement syndrome that they can't see other things that are going on there around them that would lead them to understand that President Trump is actually good for America on many different levels and has been. So, so in that regard, I call them moronic, right? Because it's very obvious if you do any amount of critical thinking that President Trump has done an amazing job and is an amazing president, probably the best, I think, the best president we've ever seen, right? So when when I see these people out there, I see a lot of nice people. I see a lot of nice people, right? Just because they're moronic on one thing doesn't mean they're bad in other aspects. It is what it is. Am I stupid about some things? Sure, right? I don't know everything. Who does? But I think this is one of those that is critical that you have some understanding, right? What goes on in your government and what goes on around you. Like in some of these cities, I'm going to show you San Diego. I spent a lot of time in San Diego as a Navy SEAL. Love that city. Spent most of my time in Coronado where the Navy SEAL teams are. I think that's one of the jewels of the world, right? And I've been back there more recently. I'd say, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe somewhere around that time frame. And we stayed at the Hotel del Coronado. I remember running by the Hotel del Coronado when I was in Bud's training, and then eventually as a Navy SEAL. I couldn't afford to stay there, you know. But eventually, when I started working for the CIA, I got paid very well, so I was able to take my family there, and we spent some time there. It's very beautiful hotel. The island, I lived on the island for, I'd say, probably a good 12 years of my life. Magnificent, right? The people of San Diego, for the most part, from my memories were fantastic. It's been a while, right? But I've been back there since, like 2 years ago. Stayed at the Hotel Del again, and it's a magical place, right? San Diego, all of California is magical to a great extent, right? They have let it go on a lot of different levels that I've talked about when I was on a Pacific Crest Trail. Instead of caring for the environment and managing the environment, they have this stupid, and here's another part of the stupid liberal side of thinking. They think that if they just leave things alone, that it will all work out. Leave the homeless there. Prostitution, no problem. Ma'am Downey is going to allow prostitution in New York. He's going to make it legal, right? So the victims of prostitution, the women that are basically, brought in by gangs and so forth and controlled by gangs, that's not going to be good for them. So this liberal mindset, I've said it so many times, Democrats got to go, guys, right? The Democrat thinking, not all Democrats, of course, have to go, but I think many of them are just NPCs, right? Non-player characters, right? And we can laugh about that, but it's like their soul is not activated. They're just wandering through life, without really experiencing and doing stupid. No critical thinking, no real emotional activity, or when they do have emotions, it's like a child's emotions. So there's a lot of moronic Americans, right? And it's not just America. I've seen it all over the world. So now, looking at all, so when I was in San Diego, let me continue that. When I was in San Diego, now when I first came to San Diego as a young, I was a hardhead diver, and San Diego downtown was a shithole, right? Absolute shithole. Now, when I became a SEAL during that time frame, they started to turn the downtown city around. They opened a mall down there. They cleaned it up. They got rid of the homeless and so forth. It was very, very beautiful city for a long time. Now, I didn't go downtown, but I have heard from a lot of people that downtown is drug infested. It's worse than ever. Like if I would have had seen that when I was a young man before I was 21, going downtown San Diego, I would have been shocked and probably hadn't want to go back down there. And I rarely went down there because it was so bad. It's worse now. It's worse now. Right. So you have a downtown, and I remember we were driving when we went to Coronado. We rented a car and going from the airport back and forth. We're on the highway, and there's highway overpasses for roads and so forth. They had tents, homeless tents, on the friggin' overpasses, on the side of the overpasses, but cars could still go through. Unbelievable. It was that, and that was 2 years ago. And the homeless crisis is worse. New York is crazy. San Francisco is crazy. Yet all these people are protesting against President Trump that's trying to clean up these cities instead of getting involved in cleaning up those cities. So this mindless, just let things happen, while in the most beautiful state in America, they're allowing the forest to burn. When I walked through, God, it's been like 10 years ago now, on Pacific Crest Trail, 8 to 10 years ago, it was large stretches completely burned. There's no reason for that. All you have to do is manage the environment. And you can manage it and make a profit off of that. You can pull out trees that shouldn't be there and make a profit off that. And then the trees that grow, eventually they could be harvested as well. And I saw this in tree farms where they showed, look, this, and they were in California, part of Pacific Crest Trail went through them, and they had all these signs just like, because they were like showing you, remember all the forests you went through? They're like burned to a crisp. Here's a managed forest. This is private land. This is the way all of California should look. And it was exquisite. The trees were huge and vibrant. You could feel the energy because you were in the forest for months like I was. You get a feel for the forest, right? For the energy. It was amazing, right? So this is the way it could be all over the world, of course, but also maybe most importantly, because we could set the example in America, we could bring back the forests the way they were before they came through and cut everything down. It's a disgrace, right? Fortunately, we have the giant redwoods that still exist in certain areas, but for the most part, America was like, the American Indian said that from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River, a squirrel could run on the treetops and never touch the ground, and run from the Atlantic all the way to the Mississippi because the trees were so vibrant and so incredible, right? So that's very sad, knowing that and seeing the way the forest used to be. There are pictures of it. There's talk of it, American Indian lore and so forth. It was magnificent. But, moronic people were allowed to cut them down and destroy America. It's one of its greatest treasures, which is the forest and the rivers and so forth, right? So that's where California is. You have moronic people that obviously are in positions of power. They influence moronic people that keep them in power, and that's got to change, right? It's got to change, guys, right? I don't know how it changes. Hope it's not violently, but it's got to change. So I'm going to show you guys some of this ridiculousness. I'm going to show you the homeless stuff. I'm not going to show you pictures of the homeless. So I'm going to talk. A former Coronado mayor is going to talk about the homeless crisis in San Diego, where all these idiots, morons, were protesting against Trump because he's trying to clean everything up. It's unbelievable. And then we're going to show you all. I'll show you all around the world. We'll start all around the country, and then I'll go to specific cities, and at some point San Diego, and I'll show you this mayor, former Coronado mayor, that has a great idea how to overcome why it's like that and how to overcome it. And then I'll show you Memphis, because I showed you Memphis on another video that I did earlier in the week, where they were invited by the mayor, by the governor, for the National Guard to come in and help them clean up the crime that's really rampant there in Memphis. And you have a black man and other blacks that are saying that this is fantastic. They had a bad opinion of Trump, and now they're seeing, and they can't deny it, that Memphis is a better place. So will the people of San Diego get to experience that, or are they going to fight and have their city destroyed? San Diego is one of the most beautiful cities like this. Coronado, definitely one of the most beautiful cities in the world. San Diego was a beautiful city. Like I said, I haven't been downtown San Diego. I don't want to go down there because I know it's gonna, because I remember it as being beautiful, Gaslight Quarter and all that stuff. So this is the problem in America. The NPCs, the morons that don't think, right? No critical thinking, emotional children, right? There is emotional quotient just like there is an intelligence quotient. And if you're low in emotional quotient, you blow up and do stupid, right? So we have all these people. I don't know how they got triggered to be stupid, morons, but they're triggered, right? So there's more of us, fortunately, than them, right? And some of them, again, they're like morons. They're like children in certain areas, right? And for people that are rational, critical thinkers, and high intelligence quotient, high emotional quotient, very spiritual, we try to help them. But all this demonstration today is proof that all the things we've been trying to do to awaken them is not working, right? So we have to carry on. We have to carry on. And I don't know what that looks like, but we can't let these radical idiots, morons continue, guys. It has to get cleaned up. There has to be, at some point, a crackdown on stupid, right? Life is tough. It's tougher if you're stupid, right? So I think that's a Patton quote, but I don't know if that was really him. But it always saw it with Patton, life is tough It's tougher if you're stupid, right? Now, I don't think these people have a tough life. I think they get taken care of by those of us that pay taxes and keep everything running. But they're making it tough. They're making it tough, and I think it's going to get tougher. All right, Soros funded, yes, Gene. That's already been proven. So you have radical funding, and that's part of the destruction of America, right? So we can't let these morons, cause the destruction of America. They're going to have to be put in their place, right? And we can't believe that they're going to be awakened, right? And I don't know what that looks like. I don't think most of them are going to fight. Most of them are just too dumb, right? They're peaceful in a lot of other areas, but they're morons when it comes to the critical thinking aspect. And I've been friends with people that I was like, they were incredible people. And then they went full Trump derangement syndrome. Spiritual, you spent a lot of time with them. And then when Trump came in, they just went full Trump derangement syndrome and had to pull away from them. I'm like, God, what is happening to those people now? Because you see me, I'm peaceful. Most of us that talk about this, we're all peaceful. I know all of you, most of you are all peaceful. But you have these people that are just morons. Absolute morons. It's like, how the heck? Well, we know how it happened. The educational system, political morons, a coordinated effort to keep them morons in certain areas so that they could be used like they are right now. Brainwashed, yeah. Staggering numbers. I was like, I don't, will people show up for this? They did in massive numbers, right? When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's so friggin' sad, right? What happened to America? But, when you look at the bigger picture, it is not that many, really, because most of America is awake, guys. We're awake. You wouldn't know it from the COVID vaccination, unfortunately, but on another level, right? We are. Maybe a COVID vaccination was more of a wake up during that time frame where people were locked down. I went to events, had people contact me or in the chat. They were talking about how, during that time frame, they awakened by watching me. And I'm like, it wasn't me. I was sent here to do this, right? So, I have really good contact with Creator Source, and it's guiding me quite a bit. It guides me to do these shows. So when you see these shows, I use a lot of my intuition to go into areas that I feel are important to help awaken more people and to calm people. Because a lot of people say that, these shows help keep them focused and calm during these troubling times. So let's go into this. I don't want you to be troubled by it. It is what it is, right? Now, I've been in combat for, at one point in my life, like 10 years ago, it was over half my life was in combat zones. So not as much now. And I'm kind of happy about that. So I don't know. It's I haven't even done the numbers, but at one time it was half and it's less now, right? So, but I got a lot of experience from that. I got to see, a portion of humanity that is extremely radicalized and affects a great portion of the rest of the population, right? And in a negative way. So what we're seeing right now, we're seeing a small portion, the deep state Nazi system that has influenced these people negatively, and It's just a small group of these people that have done this, right? And it is what it is. Those people, will they be able to be turned around? Sometimes you have to go through trauma, as I can tell you. The trauma that I went through, my training, helped me become a better man, better leader. So trauma situations, I've done fasting, extreme fasting, vision quest, and all kind of crazy stuff. So, I put myself through, and a lot of you have experienced, some extreme hardships, and that, helps you to become wiser, more spiritual, more of a critical thinker, more intuitive, all these different things that are very, very important going forward. But there's a vast group of the population, evidently, that has not had that. Now, some have. Like I said, I was, before Trump came in, I was friends with a lot of people that were like, it was like, we're like brothers and sisters, right? Absolutely. And then they got the Trump derangement syndrome. And it's like, how could they get so crazy? And it was the environment that they were educated in. They were educated in, or spent a lot of time in the educational system. The people that, that I saw that were extremely affected, right? So the educational system is there to influence people to go radical. Now, my daughter only spent 1 year in it. She spent a long period of time doing online courses, and then she, for the last portion, I think 1 or 2 semesters, something like that, to get her associate's degree. That time that she spent in California, I think it was LA area. I can't remember exactly which one, but I could see it changed her, right? Not for the better, right? Now she is she's extremely smart. And I think that probably helped her a lot, but she started having some opinions about things that were like, oh my God. So, and that's the way that system is. And I think she's kind of broken free from that thinking over time now. But maybe she is, right? But she's been in cars like Uber drivers that picked her up, and they said, "Are you related to Michael Jaco?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm his daughter." They're like, "Oh my God!" So she gets exposure in certain things. She doesn't watch my shows, but occasionally she does, right? My son was extremely. He didn't go in the education system like me, and I did all my stuff, through the military and online and so forth as well. But he was always trying to help liberals wake up. He was great. Had friends that he was with and so forth. So it was good. I think that as we move forward, unfortunately, some of these liberals will get radicalized, right? Some of these NPCs will just go along and be radicals and so forth. Some of the morons will do moronic things, but that's to be expected. But they won't get very far, guys. I've been around these radical morons, throughout the world, fighting them. Eventually, they go down, right? So that's. But usually, go down fighting. The real radical idiots, morons. All right, so let's look at some of the silliness that's out there about this no kings. Again, I'm just so sad that America's like this. It's a bad look for the rest of the world that Americans are doing this, and they see it on this level. So I wonder what they think is going to happen, because they are depending on America to basically, at some point, save them. Right? America's going to save the world, but America first. We have to save ourselves from morons. Right? So here you go, aerial views. You're going to see a lot of aerial views. They don't say which cities there are, which is kind of frustrating, but aerial views. No kings protest rock American cities. Millions revolt against Trump. Now, is some of this CGI? All right. I don't know. Right. I would hope so. I would hope there's really not this many people that are morons, right, about this subject, right? Not about everything. Like, I just want to be clear about that. But morons about this subject, right? And so we're just going to just kind of walk through some of this. So you look at that, and is some of that CGI? Because we started catching that with Biden and Kamala from people going to their rallies and so forth. Remember the Trump 2020 and then 2023 or 2024, his rallies and events and so forth. They're just absolutely massive. There was no CGI needed, right? In fact, the press tried to suppress the information on that as much as they could. But here, are we seeing potentially CGI? When I look at this, I get the feel that maybe we are, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind too. We can be hopeful, right? All right, I know this is Boston because I'm going to pull Boston up. So it does seem fairly legit. All of the areas that are, having these protests, and as stupid as it looks, silly posters and all their little sayings, it's a bunch of morons, and she looks like a very nice lady otherwise, but she's got to go, she's full on moron about this.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
And the moronic chants, I hope the rest of the world and most of you look at this and go, yeah, those are morons. I'm not going to get all worked up about that, right? So that's what we're looking at for the most of it. Yes, and we aren't a democracy. We're a republic, although they have tried to say we're a democracy and push us into a democracy, which is basically ruled by the numbers. So these people are ruling perhaps their cities, maybe their states by the numbers. Their democracy, the Democrats, wherever they rule, or democracy, if they've really gotten the vote, which I think a lot of times they don't. There's not that many people voting for them. Although in New York City, as we're going to see with Mamdani, most of New Yorkers are Democrats. So, in a lot of these cities, most of the people are Democrats. So you're probably going to see stupid continue, unfortunately.
The nation, No Kings protests are underway, including right here in San Diego. We have live crews from the North County to downtown this morning. We are also covering a major event in the North County. Cam Pendleton welcoming the Vice President and Defense Secretary as they mark 250 years of the Marine Corps. We're going to have...
So President Trump was at the 250th anniversary celebration for the Navy. And now we have probably what's going to be for 8 years, President Vance, Vice President Vance, of course, now, but he is a former Marine. And I saw his talk about this. There were tons of Marines there. Marines are amazing. I love the Marine Corps. And if I wasn't a SEAL, I would be a Marine. So the Marines are incredible. They're the best fighting force in the world, I believe. And he was there, very presidential looking. So he's warming everyone up for his eventual run, and I think very potentially 8 years of Vance in the future.
That part of our coverage in just a moment, but first, locally, there are at least 16 local No Kings protests spanning across.
So 16. Now, I don't know how big these were, and I don't know how many Republicans and independents and maybe some Democrats or former Democrats that are outside of this. Now, were there some Republicans in there? Probably rhino types, right? So very, very conceivably rhinos within the group. So, and maybe they're like, over exaggerating their Republicans too, of course. So I don't think this is a big deal at this point. I'm watching for the violence. I'm not watching the NPCs and the morons, walk around and with their stupid signs and chanting their stupid slogans. It doesn't really matter to me. America is First Amendment first, right? And that's freedom of your views, freedom of your views. So now, when the leftists were in office the last 4 years, there was no freedom of views. Now that the Republicans have come back, we again have freedom of views. So that's why I'm on YouTube. That's why I can do a show with Scott McKay like I did today on YouTube live, right? We have been restricted from YouTube for years, and that's because of the leftist morons. They took away our free speech. Now we're giving them their free speech back. They had free speech. They could, do this bullshit protest stuff all the time. So we protested. Of course, we had J6. We had a peaceful protest, and we ended up with J6. And FBI, 1,000 FBI agents coming in and like subverting it. Ukrainians coming in and subverting it. Capitol Police, obviously, part of the moron system, right? Subverting it. So we couldn't have protest. We didn't have free speech for 4 years, guys. And now we have it back again. And they still have it. They still have it. And they have it just as well, if not more, than when Biden was in there. But they're morons. They don't understand that, right?
County, from Borrego Springs to downtown. We have a live look right now from Sky Ranger 7 over the downtown rally, which is expected to be the largest of those rallies. Things got underway at 10 o'clock. They started with a few speakers talking to the crowd. You can see the crowd now. Those speakers have wrapped up their.
Now you can see there's a Native Nations banner right here. So I think this is kind of like a conglomeration of people with a bone to pick that are morons, pretty much, unfortunately. And I'm not saying the Native Nations are morons. I love Native Americans, and if you look at all of the smaller groups, like you have blacks and you have Hispanics, which are becoming even larger, the largest group at some point, I think, maybe. But American Indians, so minorities, minority groups in America, Native Americans are very Republican and they're the ones that volunteer the most to fight for our country, right? Of course, they are very, part of this country and have been for eons. And unfortunately, we broke all of our promises, except for one, and that was that we're coming to take your land and destroy you. All right. So, I mean, I remember a buddy of mine that taught me a lot of stuff, taught me incredible American spirituality, and which is very, very connected to the creator and the land and so forth. That took my spirituality to an unbelievable, way beyond what I ever expected to go to. And he had a bumper sticker, and I've said this many times, but it's always good to bring it up. You can trust the American government. Ask any American Indian, right? So we have these useful idiots of the deep state that are, protesting. And our American government has basically brainwashed them. Now, the Trump administration, of course, is going after the educational system because it's corrupted, and he's taking it down. Now, the leftists have probably screamed their minds out, right? Their little tiny minds, because that's happening, and they see that as just another evil of the Trump administration. Whereas we are like, please fix that bullshit, right? So it is pretty crazy. Now, this goes on. You can see, I want to get it to a point where you can actually see just how big this crowd is. Pretty substantial. I guess the last one they had was around 70,000. And they're guesstimating this one, as you can see here, is probably at least that much, maybe more, probably the biggest one, right? So more people showed up for this one than the last one.
We will be here. We've been here all morning. We will continue until this march concludes. But
all right. So that's enough of that nonsense. But here is a former mayor of Coronado, like I talked about. And let's listen to what he has to say about the homeless. So while these people are walking the streets of San Diego protesting, like I said, I guess President Trump is trying to clean America up, make America great again, MAGA, right? It is probably all around them, they had homeless, probably in massive numbers. And I don't know, maybe they came in and cleaned the homeless out so they could do the protest. I don't know, guys, but it's pretty sad indeed, right? San Diego, what has become of you?
The number of homeless people in the entire country was about 650,000. So how many would you guess were homeless as of 2023? 1 million? 2 million? 5 million? The answer was still about 650,000. So if the national number didn't change very much, why does it feel so much worse in cities like San Diego, Los Angeles, or New York? While most states saw declines or stability in homeless rates from 2014 through 2023, California and New York saw their numbers skyrocket, despite spending more money on homelessness than ever before. Here in San Diego, we saw a continued spike in 2024 with a modest decrease in homelessness in 2025, but we're still near historic highs. So the question remains, why is this problem getting so much worse in places spending the most to solve it? It turns out that the states with the biggest increase in the homeless rate over the past decade tend to have.
Now, the Trump administration has already found out that there's money laundering going on, and the money that was supposed to be spent on the homeless has gone into other people's pockets. So they're already disclosing that, already finding that out, and they're already making cases about it. So the morons are gonna find out, right? And will it affect them? Will they still protest when they find out that their cities are shitholes because the people that were in leadership positions, Democrats, were basically stealing that money and then giving it to other people within their circle so that they could also steal it and enrich themselves while the homeless crisis continues? Now, we make some other good points, and this is the way I think the homeless crisis is going to be resolved.
Policies in common. Number one, loose drug laws that allow for the open use of hard drugs such as heroin, fentanyl, and meth which keep addicts trapped in addiction and allows dealers to prey on the addicted. Number two, weak property crime enforcement, which allows people to steal to fund their habit with little consequence. And number three, a philosophy that attempts to provide permanent housing at a very large expense to taxpayers without requiring treatment or any other steps towards positive life choices for homeless individuals. I'm Richard Bailey, former mayor of Coronado, and I'll be doing a video series that deep dives the homelessness issue here in San Diego, as well as policy changes to address it.
All right, so loose laws in California, in all the liberal states, like I talk about, they're just laissez-faire. Just it'll fix itself. Just let it be what it is. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. That's their stupid, moronic attitude, right? So this is the problem in this system that they have been able to foist upon us, and eventually, over time, dumb down, moronicize large portions of the population. So, like I said, there were a lot of people during the COVID lockdown that started doing research. They'd never really had the time to do it before. They're just locked into their jobs, getting brainwashed by the system, slave driven. And now a lot of them are waking up. So we could possibly see more in the future. So a lot of you guys are saying very few protests here. That's good. Methadone and Suboxone is more addictive than the street drugs. Milo, that's true, because my son was on both of those. So he switched from one to the other, and then eventually we took him and did an ibogaine treatment. Ibogaine should be legal throughout the United States. The reason why it's not is because they profit. The drug traffickers, the cartels, and the mayors and the political system and governors, they all profit on this drug addiction, guys. And so they keep it going. Now, my son went to do methadone in Mexico, in what was that luxurious place we went to? I can't think of it now, but it was a nice vacation for me. But it was tough getting him there, guys. He was on his last legs. So we got him over there. He got completely off, and that's impossible to do because he was at high doses of Suboxone, and it was, he'd sneak other drugs in. It was crazy. So we got him over there. He was completely clean. He stayed clean for a long time, and then he went back down. He, like a lot of addicts, he got back on, got him clean again. He was clean for a long time. He was using LifeWave and doing really good. And then he slipped, and he told me one time that he made sure that he would take a little micro doses of fentanyl, because if fentanyl got into some of his drug, then it would kill him. So because he was clean for such a long time, when he fell off the wagon again, unfortunately, and I wasn't aware of it, he was using, and he got some fentanyl that killed him, right? And that's what President Trump is trying to do. He's trying to shut down the drug trafficking into America, which will collapse the Democrat Party, because they're very reliant on a lot of money laundering. And one of the major ones is drug trafficking. The other one is human trafficking, and especially human trafficking of children. So the 300,000 children that went missing in America during the Biden administration, I think they've only found 11,000 of them. And the conditions which they found them in were so horrible, they're not relaying how the conditions they found them in. That's what I'm hearing in back channels, right? So that alone, the 300,000 missing children, that alone should be enough for the morons to wake up, you would think. But no, they're out there demonstrating in the city still. It's disgusting to me, right? So from that point on, they don't have any say with me. They can't argue anything with me. And then there's the drug trafficking, of course. I have horrific experience with that. So I want to see it go away. I want to see the human trafficking go away, first of all, and I want to see the drug trafficking go away, right? We can do it, but not with those morons in these big cities making decisions, right? So let's look at a little bit more, and then hear from some stupid people that are at these. So we get a kind of a feel for what we're up against, right? So with this knowledge, we can overcome and defeat. So this is a protest in Detroit. So Detroit is basically a destroyed city by the Democrats already. It looked like they might be making a comeback, but from some of your comments, those of you who are around or in Detroit still, I don't know, you're telling me that no, Detroit is not good at all. And which is sad, Detroit was the second most prosperous city at one time in America. So here's the one in Boston. Now in Boston, you have a mayor that's very corrupt, I believe, Chinese woman, and maybe just Chinese descent, I don't know. Now the Luciferian groups are, they basically made it one of their conventions in her honor, right? But that's not because she's a pro-Luciferian. It's because she won't let them, do their flags and say their script. So in that regard, maybe I can, or maybe you guys can convince me that you guys in Boston can tell me more information. I would like that, because we're not finding out online, because they're definitely, you have to be able to, have contacts at this point. That's why I like to have you guys in the chat, make your chats. They're great conversations that happen in the chat. And then I go in and look at some of the comments afterwards to kind of get a feel, for what's going on out there. You guys are giving me some great insights, so thank you.
Have started to leave, especially right after Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Ed Markey spoke, and then even more after the reps took the stage and then stepped down. So certainly this is a massive event that's taking place here on Boston Common today, but as you mentioned, it's...
I mean, is that a very big representation of Boston? Did people come from other areas? They're not citizens of that are not citizens of Boston. So that's a possibility. So some of these people that we're seeing here maybe aren't Bostonians. They're maybe from some other areas. But I know there are people there because they're indirect family members, right? That are pretty leftist, right? So I wouldn't say they have Trump derangement, but they're not fans, So did they show up? I don't know. But when I look at something like this, if it's a high representation of Boston, and I've already said this, already intuited that Boston would be one of the lost cities. So when you see big numbers like this could be where we're going to see cities that are going to be lost.
One piece of a very large effort across the country to make their voices heard and try and show their displeasure with its current federal administration. We've heard from so many people today. Come back tonight at 6 o'clock here on NBC 10 Boston. We'll have a recap of what we heard on the stage right behind me and what may come up within the next half hour or so. I've been told they're planning on being about 30 minutes behind schedule, so 3:30 or so for this thing to wrap up. For now, though, on the Boston Common, Matt Pritchard, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Matt, thank you for that view from the crowd there. And that band that's playing, called the Sheila Divine, is the Run of Show's last planned performer. They're based on the event rundown, so we'll definitely be keeping tabs.
and also determination in their hearts that we have to stand together and keep speaking out when laws are broken, when people are put in harm's way. This is a community and a city.
All right, we have to stand out. This is the moron talk. We have to stand out when laws are broken. I want to bring this little moron up to so she can speak and say her moron words. But when laws are broken, so illegal immigration, that's not a law broken. All right, moron. And all the other comments that these people make that influence people, NPCs, and people with hardly any soul that kind of float through life and just make things difficult for the rest of us that are awake and spiritual. It's crazy.
For 400 years, we have done everything we can for freedom in this country and to set the course for generations to come to have.
So for freedom in this country. So again, I will reiterate the 4 years of the Biden administration where we did not have freedom. And we didn't have freedom to not be vaccinated if we chose at our workplace or in the military or in cities that mandated that you had to have a vaccine passport to do anything. And they were trying to push that into every city. Unfortunately, we were able to stand up enough to stop it out. So freedom, they don't believe in freedom. They believe in moronic attitudes and thinking, right? So I don't think I'm being harsh at all. So we're going to see right now what happens when the Trump administration is invited in to clean up and in Memphis. So this is Memphis. So that was ICE agents going in and taking down. I clicked on it. I thought it would stop it, but it totally took it out. So this is ICE agents going in and arresting criminals. So as we're going to see, as this goes forward, young black man talks about, you know, how he's seeing things in a different light now.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think it's true time. I was against pretty much everything that was coming towards me. Because I was against the National Guard, all these different police units, all this military, all this. I was against all this shit coming to the end, right?
So this is a Memphis resident that was against all of this stuff. He was against the National Guard, against police, but now he's changing his tune. And this is the way it's happening everywhere. Like in Washington, D.C., people are like, they're very, very appreciative of President Trump bringing in the National Guard because they have had city streets that they can walk on again that they haven't been able to do that on for decades.
Especially when I was the one learning shit about Memphis and how the crime has been down 25%, then it has like hella years and shit like Memphis.
So he's hearing, like a lot of these places, that crime is down 25%. Of course, he lives there. He didn't believe it, but that's the narrative that they were taking.
Doing good. We just had the most peaceful summer in a long little time. That's what these folks still come with this shit.
So now that the National Guard is there, he's saying that we've had the nicest summer that we've had in many, many years.
I was against this shit, bro. And then I seen the numbers after the first week of rounding up niggas. These folks then got 16 convicted murderers off the streets in 1 week. Black people. I know there's a lot of Memphis folks talking about all the niggas gone now and they over here, the police pulling over all the good hard working people. Hey, If that was the case, sorry. But I can't wholeheartedly say they doing a bad thing now. Now that I just seen them numbers, bro. I'm gonna just be honest. And I'm a real Memphis nigga. I love my city. I love once again, nigga, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I am obviously not a Memphis resident, but I've spent a lot of time in Memphis in training when I was in SEAL team, so forth. I've talked about this before. I love Memphis. It is a beautiful city, great food, great people. So I'm glad that Memphis is getting cleaned up and that it's appreciated, right?
Get on the motherfucking bus. I'm in the heart of this shit. I love this shit. But I would be lying if I ain't just read them numbers and say, damn, that's a good thing for Memphis.
I hope Black people wake all the way up. I genuinely hope Black people wake all the way up and just come on over to the good side. It's peaceful over here. It's nicer over here. It's money over here. It's no crime over here. It's no regulation. It's better environments. They fixing y'all cities.
So all those people that were in all those cities where they were protesting, they're probably shitholes, right? And they could be fixed, but they're dumbed down. So like the gentleman was saying, hopefully people wake up. Hopefully they wake up. I don't have hope for a lot of these cities, guys. And I've remote viewed this for years now, that a lot of these cities are going to go down, right? So it is going to be what it is, unfortunately. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about, the economy. The economy is not doing good. And this is one way that they can potentially cause unrest, right? And this was, I believe, planned so that they could get it to this point where they can rug pull and cause a lot of problems if they didn't stay in power. They probably would have done this anyway, but if they had complete control of all of Americans, they could do whatever they want and no one's going to say anything about it. And they could definitely, which they have done before in communists, every time the communists come in, they starve millions of people to death, guys. I think they were planning. You remember all of those farms that were being burned and cattle that were dying during the Biden administration, and the Chinese are coming up buying farmland? They were going to starve us to death on a massive number. And that's getting turned around. But the planned obsolescence of a lot of businesses and cities and so forth is still moving in that direction. So let's look at Las Vegas. So Las Vegas, the casino business is always the canary in the coal mine when things are getting ready to really turn down, because people start to stop. They have discretionary income where they can spend and do whatever they want. People are living paycheck to paycheck, mouth to mouth, and so forth now, more than probably for the first time in a long time.
Man, you can't even hear the crickets. Louder than the voices out here. So quiet. What do you think? Is that busy enough for a weekend?
Man, I had to look at the date. This was 9 hours ago that Metal Leo did this. He goes into a lot of the cities on the West Coast, and he shows how the cities are basically ghost towns, homelessness, drug addicted all over the place, feces all over the place. Even here in Reno, close to where I'm at, he's been into Reno. And Reno, before I got here, I looked at his video and was like, wow, Reno is like a ghost town, right? So when I was a casino manager, we would go to Reno for training for my security team, and that hotel casino complex that was down there before, Harrah's, is gone. Absolutely, completely gone, right? And it's just boarded up ghost town down there. And this is happening in more and more and more cities. Shops gone, homelessness everywhere, like in San Diego, where those people are demonstrating on in a massive number. Clean your friggin' city up. Stop being morons and clean your city up. And there's someone that can help you. All you have to do is ask.
Not really. I've seen it shoulder to shoulder, and it's not even close right now.
Totally looks like COVID times. There's a homeless guy.
Look at the sidewalks, they're empty on both sides. You have some chances, but here the odds are against you. So if you enjoy losing money and enjoy inhaling secondhand smoke, this is the place for you. Nobody getting drinks.
So this is on a weekend, right? So things are collapsing very rapidly, guys. And it's collapsed for the West Coast for quite a long time. The entire West Coast, right? All the cities of the West Coast are really hurting right now. And so we need a massive transformation. It can happen very quickly, but you're going to have resistance from the morons. And they have caused this problem, and they're going to resist reversing it. It's insane, absolutely insane. Part of me just wants to let them F around and find out, and just pull back and let them just completely collapse and starve and just disappear themselves, right? But then there's another part of me that's like, I want to help even the morons, right? So as long as I can help, and that's, so yeah, if you're godly, I think that's what you're doing. That's what we're trying to do. We're doing the right thing. So we're seeing the problems. We're going to try and help them. We're going to try and fix them. But we have to be aware that they're going to continue with their stupid. Now, this is interesting right here. They're calling 24-hour music festivals. And these are anti-ICE protests. This was starting back in the 8th. So we're like 10 days. I don't know if they're still going on. I asked my daughter. She lives in that area. She lives in Southern California. So waiting to hear back from her. And she's big into music festivals and all kind of stuff. So we'll see. I'll see from her, get some insights from her. But I mean, look at all of these people. Still, we know LA is a problem. And I think I really, really, really think, and so have other people, Louis Herms. I talked about this with Louis Herms probably 3 years ago. We were talking about this, and I was telling him, because he's a good remote viewer too, really good. I taught him. So he's probably one of the best remote viewers. Maybe there's some of you out there even better. I don't know. You learn from me, and then you're doing your thing. So good job out there. So we are seeing, we saw back then the things that are happening now. And he said that he saw a wall being put up around LA. He said, yeah, LA is going to get so bad, they're going to just put a wall around it. And so the morons can, protest all they want, have their music festivals all they want, and see how long that lasts, right? But of course, he's running for governor of California. He would definitely fix it, guys. He's a long shot, obviously, but there's been long shots that have gotten in there before. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, Donald Trump twice, long shots, they sometimes happen. Now, if you got a Louis Herms in there, he is majorly against child trafficking. He's done videos, documentaries on it and so forth. He's got a lot of people that are backing him now. So we may see, and I can't say who they are, but they're very high level people that are backing him. So it could be that he does get in office. And if he does, he will turn California around. California, you have one last chance before your country, your whole state is destroyed. You have one last chance. Not looking good. All right.
It is being hidden on this app, on all social media platforms by the mainstream media. It is actively being hidden. I don't even want to use the word I would normally use here. There have been large groups of people actively hanging out together and raising their voice for something they believe in. I have to be careful with my words even on this. They have been doing this for over 2 weeks, LA being the biggest one.
So these are anti-ICE protests, and they're couching them, hiding their protests, because I guess they were saying they were protesting against ICE, and then they were being targeted. So that's interesting. So now they're just saying music festivals. Of course, now I guess targeters know that they're doing music festivals. I'm not. I mean, if they're not doing violence, they're not part of the problem. Let them protest. Whatever.
And if you haven't heard about it, that's the problem. So what I'd like you to do is go up to the search bar and search either 24-hour music festival or Music Festivals 2025. I think either one of those should get you over.
So it's not, I mean, you're not going to see a lot. I did that. This is like, you have to be looking at a bigger picture, seeing the disinformation that's going on both sides, and dig down and see some of the things. Yeah, New California, Yoshi Patriot. Yeah, so the New California will be the complete decimation of the morons, I guess. That's the only way it can continue, I think, unfortunately, because these morons, if they get a chance, they'll vote in stupid again, Gavin Newsom. And I don't think that Gavin Newsom was ever voted in, but I don't know. Maybe they'll just get, obstinate and say, well, we don't want a Trump-like person, and that's what Louis Herms would be. And so they're just going to vote for stupid, because they're stupid. It's like that one movie, I can't think of the title of it, but it was like this guy that they put him in a time capsule or something, and it was only supposed to be a year, and somehow the project, went bad. So he ends up there, like he's in this building and the building collapses or something. So he like falls out of the time capsule type thing. And he wakes up and everyone's stupid, way stupid. And was it Idiocracy? That's right. Truth or Mike, thanks. So Idiocracy, funny movie, very funny movie, but it's like you and I, we have common sense. And he wasn't that big of a guy. He was like kind of a knucklehead in the military. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna put you in this project because he was a knucklehead. So, but then he wakes up, like 20, 30 years in the future, however long it was. And everybody's dumb as hell. Kind of like what's going on right now. And then there's those of us who are like how did you guys get so dumb? Wow. Like it's crazy. Well, we know how. The friggin' education and the morons that are in charge. So we're seeing and hopefully we'll see some kind of earth change activity that will just take all the stupid people out. So I don't know. So here is Kilauea. It had the highest lava fountains, 1,500 feet yet of this. This is number 35. So we're getting hit like we keep talking about, or I keep talking about. There's other people out there talking about it as well, but we keep talking about how there is massive energy coming from the sun. And this usually happens when there's massive earth change, guys. All right, pole shifts and so forth, because I think we're moving in that direction. And will that be stopped out somehow? I don't know, but it doesn't look good for humanity with these idiots running around, right? Because it would take a consciousness shift to basically, I think, make a difference. So that was earlier this morning. It's not active now, but it gets more and more intense. And of course, the crater is getting filled up. I called it a cauldron before. It's kind of like a witch's cauldron, right? So, someone that's in Hawaii that basically keeps me informed. So she's been taking pictures of this, and she's all over the island. Beautiful photos. The island, Big Island. I've been to the Big Island before. Absolutely incredible, driven around the whole thing. I think Kilauea was a little bit active then, so we couldn't go on one area of the island, but it's probably going to overflow at some point. It's already starting to go over the side, some of the lava. So at some point, it's not going to stop. It's just going to just keep spilling out, right? And it's going to go where it's going to go and cause, damage like the last time Kilauea erupted and took out huge tracts of housing and so forth. But this is what the Earth does. It's, that's how the Hawaiian Islands are there. You look back in time, and each one of the islands was at one time a Kilauea volcano that was overflowing and built the island. And that's why Hawaii, the big island, is the biggest island, because it's still building, right? With Kilauea, right? So, and I don't know, at some point, we'll probably see, like we have in the past, snow on the tops of the big island. They get fantastic. It's like, incredible beach weather all year round, but you'll see snow on the highest peak. And sometimes they get incredible amounts of snow up there. We're going to probably get incredible amounts of snow this year. And Kilauea will probably be erupting, right? So, light, it'll light up. It'll be volcanic light at night, and you'll maybe be able to see the snow on the top of that one peak. So, fantastic time, right? But of course, there's going to continue to be massive displacement of people. It's coming. Obviously, it's kind of like, I predicted get into silver, and now silver is like 3 times higher than what I was saying it was. And then even from here, it's going to go 10 times higher. If you missed my show today with Dr. Kirk Elliott, I highly recommend it. But you need to be in something that's going to, help you going forward. Unless you're a moron, right? We don't want you to get silver. You morons, no silver for you, right? And they're probably not going to get it anyway. I doubt they have silver, right? So evacuations in Alaska after major typhoon. So the typhoon came through. I think it went through Japan and up through or through by the Philippines, caused a little bit of damage, and maybe even some loss of life. And then it whipped around and they went north up to Alaska and caused incredible damage.
Is capturing the devastation in western Alaska as the aftermath of Typhoon Halong wreaks havoc, forcing more than 1,000 evacuations from remote areas. New footage released by the Alaska National Guard shows daring rescues like this woman being hoisted out of her home as it appears to be floating in the water. Exhausted residents sleeping on board Chinook helicopters and dozens of evacuees.
Now, I've heard that there were some leftists that didn't want to get picked up by the National Guard, so they had to leave them. I'm kidding.
Trudging across the tarmac in the rain. It's been a week since more than 6 feet of storm surge and 100-mile-an-hour winds destroyed homes, killing at least one person, at least 2 still missing. Remote coastal towns only accessible by air or water were hit the hardest. In the town of Kipnuk, this drone video showing muddy piles of debris, homes toppled from their foundations.
Everything in my house was shaking, and I was scared.
Brandon West, a hotel manager in Bethel, recalling those heart-stopping moments.
Felt like the whole building was shaking off the foundation.
Thousands are currently displaced, with the largest airlift in Alaskan history currently underway. More than 1,600 people evacuated so far. More than 1,600 people evacuated. Thousands are.
All right, so remember the scene from Afghanistan where the Biden administration was evacuating all the Afghans that, were in danger of being killed by the Taliban because they pulled out so fast and left a lot of people. So very, very similar, obviously, to that time frame, but with American citizens, right? So this is the way things are going to go in the future. We're going to help Americans first of all, and then we'll help the world, right?
Displaced, with the largest airlift in Alaskan history currently underway. More than 1,600 people evacuated so far and forced to find shelter nearly 500 miles away in Anchorage.
We've been also transporting maintenance. Some of these communities have less than 72 hours worth of food and 1 to 2 days worth of fuel to power the generators.
The Red Cross is using a 5,000-seat arena to house evacuees. And as for what's next, damage assessments are underway in more than a dozen villages in the region. Evacuations will still take a few more days. Gio.
Okay, we are thinking.
All right, so this is going to be very, very common going forward, guys, as the sun activity continues, and I think we're in the early stages of it, and it's going to get a lot worse. There's going to be massive earthquakes and so forth. So now in the cities, like you saw with that black gentleman saying that Memphis is much better, we've seen the Democrats basically continue to enslave, like they did back in before the Civil War, the black race, and they're breaking free. Now this is some video. There has some positive. But this is the Israel nation here in the United States. They're a little bit out there, guys. But in some aspects, I believe they're doing good things. But is this going to turn out to be a negative in the long run? So something to watch.
Houston, almost 27,000 crimes are committed a year. That's almost 70 crimes a day. And who's committing those crimes are young black men, teenagers.
What's the big cause of this? They're like a fathers, no real male role models in the house, and with no father figures in the house. The kids have nobody to turn to.
And this is what they did to the black community with the music, with drugs and so forth. They basically tore the black family apart. They're trying to do the same thing with all families. It doesn't matter your race, really. But they really targeted the black race for a long time. And I remember growing up, and black families were amazing. But today, without the father figures, it is turning into a pretty tragic. They're basically giving women without a man in the house that have babies more money and more money for more babies, as long as they don't have a man in the house. They get a man in the house and they take away the money. Wow. So they're forcing the Black community to extinguish itself.
Sirach chapter 3 and verse 9, it says that the blessing of a father establishes his house, meaning that the father brings home discipline, correction, and all those godly things for the son. But without the father, he's left to look up to what? People who came from the streets or people who are in the streets right now and have money, they're left to look up to them instead of a godly man.
But here at Men's Conference, our leadership here at IUIC brings solutions to our problems, turning boys to men, men to husbands, husbands to fathers, men to gods, and us young men, we're gonna follow. In this city,
All right. So are they going militant? They got some interesting conversations going on with that Israel nation group, right? It's something to be watched, right? They have a good message there in the beginning. Looks like they're cleaning up the Black community. I salute them for that. But it looks like there's a little bit of radicalization that's going on with that group, unfortunately. So, we don't want that. We want, people to have that power, connection to God, but we don't want it to be radicalized. And I think, unfortunately, there may be some radicalization going on with the Israel Nation group there. So something to watch. Again, if it's almost seems radical Islam to me, guys. Right? So I think we need to watch that and make sure that that doesn't get out of control. If it is, and maybe it's a good thing, and maybe I'm not seeing it right, but I've seen some of the sermons, and they're not so good, right? So we'll continue to see breakdowns, and things happen within cities. Could that be a positive? At some point, it could be a positive. I don't know. So lots of stuff going on. I'm just kind of like I covered a lot of the stuff that I was gonna bring up, but 6 out of 10 U.S. consumers expect economy to weaken. So according to a survey of roughly 4,000 people published on Wednesday, 57% of respondents expect the economy to soften over the coming 12 months, the highest level ever recorded since Deloitte, I think that's it's pronounced, but began tracking the sentiment in 1997. This represents a 27% point jump from the 30% registered during the same time last year, and is even higher than the 54% seen in 2008 during the Great Recession. Wowzer, right? So I think it's already here. I think we're in a Great Recession. We're probably going to enter a depression. When the stock market finally collapses, when that happens, they're pumping it up. The manipulators are pumping it up, guys. All right. It should have been down long ago. I think we're going to see the complete collapse of the financial system, and we're going to bring in a quantum system. Now, a lot of you guys ask me what are my thoughts on this financial system. I can't give you any because I don't know. Nasara Jasara is just words. That's part somewhat true, but it's not the full picture from what I've seen. All right. So this is Johnny Bravo. I've done Johnny Bravo's courses. He's pretty much like me. not only is he a market analyst, but he does charting like I do, and I learned some good charting stuff from him. And he's like me, he looks at the full picture. So I've told you guys, I'm not a fan of crypto, and I think crypto is probably going to collapse. Now, this is basically spelled out by Johnny Bravo, and then somebody else that's very prominent too.
So you don't be like crypto bros. Also, if you want to know where the price is going on Bitcoin, right here, that would be, you know, your 100,000, maybe 93,000. Just test in the line. Then after that, I don't know. Is are in a rising wedge. I don't know how he's getting 20. I'm going to take it. I'll give you from here to here. I think that is a respectable move to the downside, but you got to confirm and break that, like you confirmed and broke that, or when you confirmed and couldn't get above that, or that. Or that. It is correct that charts are not always.
All right. So my prediction that it would go to 125,000. It was reached what, week and a half ago or whatever it was, and then they hammered it. Now, will it go back up? The possibility goes back up, but I think it's a very good possibility. We're going to see some serious lows in crypto.
100%. But I've made a hell of a lot of money being okay with not being 100%. Also, that Pi cycle top has not been confirmed yet on Bitcoin. That has been 100% accurate, so you may go higher. I have 48, I'll move, sorry. 48,243. I mean, I guess if you measure it from the taint, okay. No, Andrew, I was not making fun of your name. But if we were to measure it from the taint, let me move over here. Oh, I wonder where, Andrew, who told you the price, the 26? Was it someone who understood the charts? I'm just asking for a friend. Oh, and let me just check my my number here.
So this is Andrew Tate says Bitcoin is going to 26,000. Andrew Tate, 26,000. So my prediction it would go to 125,000. It went to 126, I think. And now it's pulled back dramatically. And Andrew Tate is saying it goes to 26,000. And Johnny Bravo is doing the calculations on it, and he's getting that as well.
Yep, Andrew Tate predicts Bitcoin will crash to 26,000, 26,000, 26,000. What did the chart say? So I just watched his video, and he's like, yeah, it's not about the charts. That's exactly right here. It's the charts, 26,257, if you want to be spot on, Andrew. Now, am I going to put my money where my mouth is and short that from there? Is my mic on? No. I take small measured moves.
Johnny Bravo, it's crack up. All right, so you Bitcoin bros, be careful out there, right? You can make money going up and down. So you could short Bitcoin when it goes down. I don't know. It's just, it all just seems, like a evil. It's all evil. And I think that getting involved with it at this point, that's what I'm seeing, unfortunately. I've been involved with it and made a lot of money when I made a lot of money, but now I'm just like ready to just go with God's money, which is silver and gold, and just put it all in. All right, I'm all in with silver, guys. I got a little gold and little platinum, which does really well too, but silver. And I was very impressed with my wife. She has a nice little stash, and she's now, let's put it in silver. I'm like, honey bunny, good. All right, so everybody I think is moving that direction. That's following our groups, and I think you're going to do really well with the silver going forward. So, all right, now I'm probably getting a little bit long here. So now, who do I think is going to get arrested next? So I think we may see Fannie, was it Willis? What was her name? And it's I'm sorry, it's Fani. Fani. It's so funny. Fani Willis. Tomato, Fanny, Fani, whatever, right? So she's a baddie and she's going to jail, right? So they just recently requested some more information from her. What they say, they wanted her travel records. Justice Department issued a subpoena for her travel records in September 2025. What's that about? Now, she indicted Trump and 18 of his allies in Georgia during that horrific 4 years of the Biden administration. Lawfare was at an extreme. Freedom of speech was almost non-existent. And now it's payback time. And some people are saying I don't think it's really payback time. It's time for justice, right? And it seems to be moving in that direction very nicely. So we may see Fani be the one that is getting charges. So Jack Smith, I think, could be before Fani. So we'll see Jack. It could happen next week, both of them. Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal, said Trump on Wednesday. And he had Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel next to him. And he said, I hope they're looking at all these people. The bosses told you, okay, Jack Smith's next. Right? So that seems to be where things are going, guys. So we all looked at this when it was happening. We're like, how is this possible? How is this possible? It's possible in a criminal system. It's possible when there's treason being committed and no one's being held up for justice. So that justice is coming. Justice wheels turn slow, but when they grind up these criminals, and that's what's happening. So the morons that are in the big cities, will they get ground up or will they wake up? Don't hold your breath. They're going to wake up. Right? So will they be destroyed within their big cities? I think so, right? I think so. So we're going to see. We're going to see. Hopefully there's hope for them or help for them. I don't know, but there's some serious corruption in those big blue cities, guys. So I would be surprised if that gets unwound in a short period of time before things start to get really violent, right? All right, that's all I got for tonight. I started a little bit late because there was a lot of information, but I got to go cook some dinner. Lots of love to you guys. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.